Good morning. Happy 10 a.m. tea. It's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and I hope that your day is going amazing so far. It's Wednesday, hump day, halfway through the week, getting through the stuff. So I hope everything's awesome. Today we're going to be talking about yin and yang, which is sort of one of the fundamental kind of pieces of framework in regards to acupuncture and Chinese medicine. The symbol is here. That's the Taiji symbol, Taiji. And as you can see, you have kind of white and black representing, the black representing yin and the white representing yang. And inside of the yang, you see a little bit of yin. And inside the yin, you see a little bit of the white yang. So they're always interdependent and transforming into each other. And that's kind of why the symbol looks like it looks. And that is coming straight out of Chinese acupuncture and moxibustion. This is kind of lovingly known as CAM, and this is one of the kind of basic textbooks in Chinese medicine theory. So any acupuncturist that you know should be familiar with this book. You've at least seen the cover of it in the library if you didn't buy it, because student loans suck and that shit's expensive. But this is kind of one of the tenets, and this is where I pulled a lot of my information from for the talk about yin and yang. So it literally means a dark side and a bright side. And both sides, as I mentioned before, are dependent on each other. So without yin, there can be no yang, or yang, pronounced yang. And without yang, there can be no yin. They're kind of a comparison to each other. So, you can't have hot unless you have cold to compare it to. Because what does hot mean unless you have something else in reference to cold? So it's kind of always comparing things, and it's relating a lot to balance. And it's a framework for understanding health and disease, life and death, how the seasons work. It's kind of everything can be broken down into yin and yang. It's kind of one of those fundamental building blocks of understanding. And so the same way that you can't have good without evil, warm without cold, they have to exist side by side. And so there's kind of this saying, when people see things as beautiful, ugliness is created. When people see things as good, evil is created. So it's always about kind of comparison, and kind of, if you have one, then you have to have the other, and you want to have these parts in equal balance so that you have a good quality of life. So what would qualify as yang? Well, that would be heat, like summertime, movement, brightness, upward and outward sort of motion. Oop, there goes the book. Excitement, activity, potency, drying, function, activity. These are all the things that we would see with yang when we're describing something that is yang. So summer would be considered yang, daytime would be considered yang, an explosion would be considered yang. Yin is more kind of substance in Chinese medicine. It's more about water. Yang would be fire. It's more about coldness in the yin, stillness, darkness, kind of down and inward, sort of like what happens in the winter time when the leaves fall off the trees and everything kind of goes back into the roots sort of idea. Being reserved, being a little bit more inhibited, a little bit more private. If yang is kind of active, yin is sort of subtle, moistening instead of drying. And so they're very much opposites. But as we know, there's a lot of space in between when you're having summer and winter. Good morning, Scott. Thanks for checking in. And so yang also can be kind of divided up even more. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow as we get in a little bit deeper into the yin and yang theory. It's really simple and it's really complicated at the same time, because you think, well, hot, cold, I can figure this out. But when you kind of tease things in a little bit more detail, it can be a little bit more confusing. So have an awesome day. Make sure you tune back in again tomorrow. We're going to continue talking about yin and yang for the rest of the week, so you don't want to miss any of that. I hope you have an awesome day. Take care of yourself. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, please do. Left-hand side of the Facebook business page here, newsletter sign up. Click on that, enter in your information, and you will be all signed up for the newsletter, and you'll be getting that every Monday in your inbox for our weekly summaries. So take care of yourself. Have a glass of water. Catch a fresh fish. That's really funny. Scott's making reference to one of our cats that has a personality, and we think she's a little bit pretentious about fish, and so that's what that's referencing. So anyway, have an awesome day. I hope you love cats too. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.